We are starting the new year off reading through the book of Genesis. Genesis is the beginning of the Bible. Makes sense we should start off the year, the beginning of the year, going through this. And as we do, I am posting video clips sharing different insights and thoughts about various pieces from within. I am not giving an in-depth dramatic reading of it. I am not giving this a detailed analysis of it. Volumes have been written and published and recorded about Genesis, but I want to give you a few nuggets to think about. And today I want to talk about Genesis 28, verses 10 through 22. In this piece, Jacob is running away from home because he has just cheated his brother out of the family blessing. He leaves home and he's traveling 500 to 600 miles north, going for a wife. But we read in verses 12 through 13 something that happens when he stops at night to rest. Then he dreamed, and behold, a ladder was set up on the earth, and its top reached to heaven. And there the angels of God were ascending and descending on it. And behold, the Lord stood above it and said, I am the Lord God of Abraham, your father, and the God of Isaac. The land on which you lie, I will give to you and your descendants. So in the Middle East, back then it was the ancient Near East, there were these structures called ziggurats. It looks kind of like a pyramid. They're that size, that scale, but they had a staircase on the outside and the top was flat. They were built by many religions as a way to connect with their gods, because on that flat top is a plateau where God would come to connect with people. In fact, a lot of experts believe that the Tower of Babel we read about in Genesis 11 was actually a ziggurat. And we still see remnants of these ziggurats throughout the Middle East. They're in Iraq, they're in Syria, they're in Mesopotamia, they're all over. But the general idea is that they were a link between their gods and humans. In the Mesopotamian area where we have these ziggurats, such ladder or stairway was used by a messenger of the gods, moving from one realm to the other, from the heavens to the earth and back. In fact, the word Babylon, remember that Abraham was Babylonian, he came from that area. Babylon means gate of the gods. And sure enough, there was a ziggurat at Babylon. That's what Jacob believes is going on here. He believes that he has stopped to rest and he is at this place where it's like a gateway between people and God. Angels, often used as messengers for God, like Gabriel speaking to Mary and Joseph during the Christmas events, they're going up and down this staircase, presumably bringing messages to God. Now notice, God didn't ascend or descend. We read in verse 13, and behold, the Lord stood above it. But we also see a beautiful piece that Jesus shared talking exactly about this. In John 1:50, Jesus is talking to Nathanael, and he said to him, most assuredly, I say to you, hereafter you shall see heaven open and the angels of God ascending and descending upon the Son of Man. Just like what's happening in this vision between God and Jacob, angels ascending and descending. Why is this happening now and here? Well, prior to this, Abraham, Jacob's grandfather, had encounters with God. Isaac, Jacob's father, had encounters with God. But this was the first time Jacob had an encounter with God directly. He had heard about God from others, but he had to have his own relationship with God. That's why we read earlier, when God was speaking to him, I am the God of Abraham, Isaac, your forefathers. But he had to have his own relationship with God. It's the same with you and me. We hear about God from other people, maybe a friend that first told us about God, or a relative, or a parent, or a minister, or a speaker of some way. But it's up to each of us to have our own relationship with God. So in this situation, this vision that God gave to Jacob, God is saying to Jacob, now you're hearing from me directly. And God is saying, in effect, now that you know who I am from me, I will give this land to you and to your descendants, who will be more than you can count. That's exactly what is meant by that phrase, your descendants shall be as the dust of the earth, more than you can count. Jacob wakes up from this dream, this vision, says, whoa. Okay, that's the English translation from the Hebrew, if you will. And it says in verse 16, surely the Lord is in this place and I was not aware of it. Boy, that's beautiful for us, because we are often in a place and God is with us and we are not aware of it. We're good at ignoring God, not listening to God, not reacting to God. Let's do better. Jacob goes on there to build an altar to God and called the place Bethel, house of God. Now, there's one other piece that I want to highlight about this that I think is just beautiful, and it's about blessings and birthright. Now, earlier, just one chapter earlier in Genesis 27 verse 41. So Esau, that's Jacob's brother, hated Jacob because of the blessing with which his father had blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand, then I will kill my brother Jacob. Jacob had cheated his brother out of the family blessing, and Esau was furious. There was only one family blessing, that's all there was. He had stolen it. But in this piece, we read, there's more. In verse 14 of today's Genesis 28:14, this is beautiful. Your descendants shall be as the dust of the earth, and you shall spread abroad to the west and to the east and to the north and to the south. And in you and in your seed, all the families of the earth shall be blessed. Big change from just one chapter earlier when there was that one blessing for the family that he had taken from his brother. There's not just a blessing for the first son to get from his father. There is now blessing for all the families on earth that would be blessed through Jacob's actions. Wow. We went from a coveted family blessing that virtually destroyed a family to a blessing from God that extends to everyone. And that includes you. You got that blessing from here too, from Genesis 28.